Hello and welcome to my review of the new alien invasion war film, Battle Los Angeles, starring Aaron Eckhart and Michelle Rodriguez. First burning question you're asking yourself, is this movie better than Skyline? Yes, it is. Phew. But moving right along. Battle Los Angeles probably has one of the simplest concepts you'll see in a movie this year. It centers on a platoon of Marines who have to fend off an alien invasion. That's it. So as pretty much everyone's been saying, it's essentially Black Hawk Down meets Independence Day. I was really looking forward to this movie. It looked fantastic. It looked like a great new spin on an alien film and a war film. And I just went in there really pumped up. But in actuality, when I walked out, I don't think I've ever been more indifferent on a big special effects driven film. This is a very easy movie to review. Everything that doesn't have aliens or guns is god-awful. Everything with aliens or guns is pretty sweet. But don't worry, I can elaborate on that. Let's start out with the awful part, which is the dialogue and the acting. For the most part, I didn't believe a single one of these soldiers. Aaron Eckhart is the only decent one. He plays the leader of the squadron named Sergeant Nats. His character is given a tad more dimension than the rest because apparently on his last tour of duty, he let a squadron die and he has to kind of wrestle with the guilt and stuff. And Eckhart is a good actor, but he always seems like he's playing a tough guy, like he's trying desperately to be a badass, but instead of just being one. I was disappointed with him, to be honest with you, especially since his character was wrestling with guilt. He has played that kind of character before, like a tragic character like that, and played it extraordinarily in The Dark Knight. But he's not awful, and he does carry the movie to a certain extent. The rest of the actors, however, oh boy. Let's start out with Ramon Rodriguez, who you may remember as oh my god! From Transformers 2. Yeah, that one. This guy, it just sucks the energy out of any movie he's in. At the beginning of the film, he's supposed to be the leader of his squadron, and he just comes off as this dumbass. Like, the fact that his character apparently graduated first in his class is just unbelievable, and he's just a terrible actor. He's never believable. I didn't believe that Aaron Eckhart would follow this guy's orders even for a second. And the fact that the rest of the squadron follows him makes them just as idiotic. And then we have Michelle Rodriguez playing herself. Every single soldier in this squadron is completely forgettable. And for a war movie where you're following the squad throughout the entire film, that's borderline unacceptable. You need to have at least one member of the squad who truly stands out, but I can't even tell the difference between half of these guys because they're just so generic and are never given anything to, like, they're given things to care about a couple, but they're so artificial and I wish they just made their personalities much more compelling. The dialogue in this film is awful. The writing is straight out of Call of Duty and you will be laughing your ass off at some of the horrible lines they give these guys to say. But this is not a movie about acting, writing, or dialogue. This is a flat-out action film, and at the action parts of it, it does excel. This movie was directed by South African director Jonathan Liebesman, and he's definitely one to watch out for. This guy can flat-out shoot action scenes. This movie has some of the best, most intense gunfights I've seen in quite some time between the squadron and the aliens, who actually use real battle tactics. They don't just stand there and shoot their lasers like idiots. They get behind cover, the squadron has to get behind cover. It's a real battle filmed in, like, a realistic style, but with a sci-fi twist. The movie has a very gritty look and feel to it. And the shaky cam, for once, actually helps the movie. It keeps the action frantic, but it's tangible. You can see what's going on. And the CGI looks great. There's some awesome destruction. The aliens are well-designed, if a little generic, but well-designed nevertheless. And just, I hate to be shallow, but this movie got some explosions. And 90% of this movie is action anyway. So while I did spend some time complaining about the plot and dialogue, the action does come in, distract you from it, and keeps you entertained. In fact, the bridge standoff sequence in this film is without a doubt one of the more impressive action scenes I've seen since at least the summer movie season. And by the halfway mark, I was enjoying myself despite how terrible this movie is on an exterior level. The action in this movie just kicks so much ass that it does raise the movie up quite a bit. Overall, I did kind of enjoy this movie. It was a solid genre mashup. It had some really solid action, but all the great action, wonderful effects, and for the most part decent direction in the world can't save a bad script. It can try its hardest, but it really can't. And I can't give it a 3 out of 4, but I will give it a 2.5, because don't get me wrong, even though I spent half this review slamming this film to death, I did enjoy myself and I did have fun. And I definitely recommend you do see it. You just have to go in knowing what you're going to get, which is just a flat-out action film. And if you know what you're going to get, you're going to have a good time. So if you enjoyed this review, subscribe to my channel, because there'll be plenty more reviews and videos coming up.